Hi, everyone. My name is Harsh Mehta. I'm the recruiting specialist based in the Boston campus. Thanks for joining us for our fall 2024 Wonder Week. The session that we're going to go over is wireless and network engineering and Internet of Things. We have two amazing faculty members, Dr. Jornet and Dr. Basai, who are our amazing faculty members that will go over their program and talk more about what they do and how amazing this program is. Next slide, please. So I'm going to go over some admissions slides beforehand, then we're going to pass it on to them, and then we'll just do some wrap up of some few more admission slides as well as some Q&A. So it's just some housekeeping rules. On the bottom of your screen, you will see a Q&A feature. Please use that to ask any questions you have regarding the program. And we do advise that you don't use it to ask application questions only because it does require one-on-one attention. So just some things about Northeastern is that we are top-ranked R1 research and experiential learning university. That is a term that you will continuously keep hearing throughout just myself and through other members within the Northeastern family is just how strong we are with experiential learning. Another thing is that we are #1 ranked in co-op and internships. Just some interesting fun facts is that we just hit 115 years of co-op. So the university is celebrating throughout all the amazing campuses that we have within the Northeastern family, as well as College of Engineering was the first college within Northeastern to start co-op. So that's something that we're really proud about and we continue to celebrate. Within Northeastern, there are 10 colleges and schools. So just in case you feel like your friends may not be into College of Engineering, there is an art school, there is a health school. So definitely let your friends know that. And then we have over 50,000 students. So our student population is large, and one third of it is the College of Engineering students. We offer everything under the sun. So we're talking about PhD, MS, BS, and certificate. So there's a lot of options for you to do, including what your degree is in. And like I stated earlier, we are a research school, so there's a lot of external research awards that a lot of our faculty work hard and do a lot of research and get a lot of grants. And then, like I've stated earlier, we are a global university system. So if you go to the next slide, please, you will see what system that we have. We have everything from the West Coast to the East Coast and even internationally, which is in Canada and London. So you may be on the West Coast, we'll be there. East Coast, we're there. So I know for myself, I've been at some of the campuses and our faculty members are always on the West Coast as well. So definitely these are some of the views of our campus that a lot of students get to see. Next slide, please. So what is COE's mission and what is it about? So something that we like to say is that it's an academic institution. Our main product is people. Our success is based on the quantity and quality of the people we produce. You just have to click next for me. So something that our dean likes to say is good engineers solve problems. Great engineers solve important problems. Transformative engineers discover and solve important problems. And we produce transformative engineers, which is both student and faculty with the global impact. And that is a lot of what our faculty members do. Next slide. So what does that look like, right? So the College of Engineering, our student body, like I've stated earlier, is one of the largest, so it makes 1/3. We have faculty of 403 full-time faculty members within our campus network, as well as a lot of them are continuously doing research around the clock. So if you have emailed a faculty member and they're delayed in their response, it's because one, they're working all the time. And then on top of that, what are we in the ranks? So we are a top 38 best engineering graduate school, as well as we are top 37 best engineering school for our undergrad students. Next slide, please. And then this is just a little synopsis of what we are. So we have over 9 PhD programs, 32 MS degree programs. And then, of course, abroad of what I've stated earlier is that these are just the campuses and the programs that are available at the campus. So that just gives you an idea of maybe a program that you are interested in that may be at Boston. It also could be in Oakland or Silicon Valley. So those are just some things to look into. Next slide, please. And now I pass it on to our transformative engineers.
Thank you very much, Art. My name is Josep Miquel Jornet. I'm a professor in electrical and computer engineering, and actually until the end of the year, I serve as the interim department chair. I'm also the Associate Director of the Institute for the Wireless Internet of Things. And today I'm here with my great colleague and friend, Stefano Bassani. Stefano, maybe you can introduce yourself.
Thank you, Giuseppe, and thank you, Harsh. I'm Stefano Basagni. I'm a professor as well in the Electrical and Computer Engineering department. I'm one of the co-directors of the two Master of Science programs that Giuseppe and I are presenting today, the Master of Science in Wireless Network Engineering and the Master of Science in the Internet of Things, in charge of general directions for the master, admissions, organization of events, and of course, curriculum design. I'm also serving, since it was mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, as the Associate Dean for the Global Engineering Campus, which entails the opportunity for our students to spend some time at one of the half a dozen campuses where the College of Engineering is present at this time.
Thank you, Stefano. So let's get started. Let's talk about the two masters that we've created, and now we've been teaching for over 2 years now. But let's start with a question. Just for a moment, just think how your life would be if we didn't have any type of wireless connectivity, right? I mean, you can keep your phone, but it's pretty much a paperweight. Sure, you can keep a smartwatch, but it's only going to tell you the time. Forget about GPS, forget about anything that has remote in it, right? Whether it's the smart appliances at homes, the sensors everywhere, let's get rid of all those. How would your life be? I mean, some of you may say, wow, this is paradise. No more notifications, no more need to socialize. Yes, that's an option. Some of you would be miserable, say, oh my God, no, I need to be connected. One way or another, let's agree, without wireless communications, our society, the world as we know it, would be very different. So what are we trying to do when we talk about new programs on wireless and networking engineering? Well, these two programs, Wireless and Network Engineering and IoT, are programs led by the Institute for the Wireless Internet of Things. Just big picture. So Northeastern, right? Like many universities, has colleges. And for example, Stefano and I are in the College of Engineering. But then we have the College of Computer Sciences, different fine. Each college has departments. And for example, Stefano and I are Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering. But then in Northeastern, besides these vertical separations, we also have, institutes that go across colleges and bring together people who work towards the same mission. For the Institute for the Wireless and Internet of Things, our mission is to shape the future of wireless systems. And what does it mean that? Well, we work on next generation wireless technology. So we're done with 5G, we're on to 6G. We work on networks that can more efficiently share the spectrum, the resources we have. Everything needs to be programmable, software defined, and not just networks that rely on the electromagnetic spectrum. We also deal with acoustic and ultrasonic networks for inside your body or underwater. And we also talk about nano, bio, and quantum communications. AI is a tool that we utilize to optimize the performance of our networks, but also our networks enable AI to happen. AI requires a lot of data. It has changed who is really using the internet, and those our networks both benefit and contribute to AI. Of course, we use this for different applications: digital health, industrial IoT, smart agriculture, you pick it. And sure, many of our, let's say, sponsors relate to the Department of Defense. So we do a lot of work related to contested environment. And that's okay. As you know, many of the technologies that we're utilizing today had an origin in that context. Now, why an institute that seems to be very focused on research suddenly is talking to you about two master programs? Well, the reason is the following. We work with the government very closely, but we also work with a lot of industry. And the message that we hear from right and left is that, the wireless technologies play a key role in our society. We've seen that. And more importantly, there are over 5 million job opportunities in the next decade, spanning across everything that you can think of, right? So yes, you may do wireless and then you want to continue going down wireless, or you may do wireless and you will join a company that needs your expertise to transform their business or their outreach or whatever they need. So that's important. Now, what do we need? Well, we need to train people in the different topics from wireless to networks to IoT. And being very honest, we need diversity in people because not everyone, I mean, some people will be fine with a bachelor's degree, some people will need a master's, some people will go on to a PhD. And the good news is that we offer all of those within the institute, with the department, and with the college. So that's the challenge that we're facing, the challenge that came to us both from government and industry, and say we need people who are ready to lead the wireless revolution. That you will say it started, yeah, but it's just the beginning. And that's why we're trying to prepare all of you. Now, we talk about diversity of topics and we talk many different technologies. So within the Institute, we have faculty covering many different topics, from underwater acoustic networks all the way to satellite networks. And for example, it is within the department and the College of Engineering that we are, we have, unmatched test beds underwater. And we're also leading the launch of the first satellites from Northeastern. There are other universities that have had the tradition before. We are embracing that, and we are defining what the future of aerospace is. And it's not anymore about just thrusters and orbital dynamics. It's actually about AI and connectivity in space. Other applications, well, they can range from intra-body networks that we discussed before, with not just wearable, but implantable devices anywhere you can think of, but then all the way up to drones. Anything that you can think of happens within the Institute. And well, we do that, as we already mentioned, with many people, undergraduate, master, and PhD students. That's our usual cohort. But we work with a lot of postdoctoral researchers, people who already got a PhD and said, we want to continue, we want to double down, or maybe they did a PhD somewhere else. And it's like, we got many things, but not the whole picture. We want to work with you. So we have many postdocs, but even during the summer, we actually host high school students for 2 months who work with us. And we create this very interactive, very diverse working environment. We are at Northeastern, as Harsh already mentioned. It's all about, first of all, we care very much about strong theoretical fundamentals, but then our edge is like, well, now you actually can go and play. You can actually go and experiment. And for that, we have access to many platforms that we have developed, including, for example, like the world's largest radio frequency emulator. It's Colosseum. We think of it as a supercomputer that, instead of solving very complicated physical equations, is actually emulating how a new network in whatever place on Earth or Mars that you pick could be running based on new protocols or new technologies that you can program, right? So that's what an emulator is. That's what Colosseum is. But we have other type of platforms. We have fully software-defined platforms in our buildings. We have one-of-a-kind platforms that operate at 100 gigahertz and up. And these platforms are not just decoration. It's not just something that we use to show off to sponsors or in research. We embrace them in the courses that we teach you. Like, for example, if you take the class on wireless sensor networks and IoT, you end up using Colosseum. If you take the class on terahertz communications, you end up using Terranova. It's not just for research. You come at Northeastern, you have access to platforms that no one else in the world can access. Well, that's not really true. We allow remote access to the good collaborators. But again, you get the training on hand while you're with us. Now, we keep saying we. Who is we? Who is the Institute? Well, at this moment, 2 of us, Stefano and myself, but our director is Professor Tommaso Melodia. And here are the faculty that, if you were to join us, you would meet through the years. Some of them are very active research faculty. Some of them do both teaching and research, like Stefano and myself. And then we also have faculty who have a PhD, went on through all of that, and then said, you know what, I see the value in teaching. I only want to teach. So you have everything. And that's why we can offer you a very diverse and very complete program. Now, I told you before that we listen to the government and we listen to industry. Why or how do we listen to industry? Well, our institute has an industrial board with your favorite companies in them. And these companies are not companies that we go to them and beg for something. These companies are companies that come to us and pay annually to be affiliated with us. So these are the companies who say, Stefano or Giuseppe, I love your PhD students, but you can only graduate like maybe 5 to 10 a year. We need many, many more people. Can you create a master's program? And actually we did. And maybe later, Stefano can elaborate on, for example, the opportunities that come with that, including things like, the Qualcomm Alliance and others. Now, we work with industry, and I said, and we talk to the government and others. So actually, our goal is not just to write papers. Our goal is not just to get you jobs, which is important, but our goal is actually to really have an impact in society. And for that, you don't work alone. You work with others. You work with other academic institutions, with companies, with the government. So I'll give you an example. Northeastern University is one of the only 10 universities in the country that are full members of the International Telecommunications Union. What does this mean? Well, for someone in wireless, you need to understand that the ITU, International Telecommunications Union, is an alliance between 143 countries, and the recommendations from ITUs are considered international treaties. Anything that has to do with wireless at the end needs to go through the rules that the ITU approves. If you are in the US, you may, for example, you will hear when you're here about FCC, but FCC at the end of the day is only implementing the ITU rules. So you know what? We're one of the only 10 universities that can directly talk to the ITU. And of course, we talk to others, but sometimes we need to pull some muscle and, show some muscle, and we do that, believe me. Now, what are we talking about today? We're talking about 2 new programs. And for this, I would actually like to hand it over to Stefano and maybe provide this overview and start with the first of them. Stefano.
Thank you, Giuseppe. At this time, for some reason, can everybody see the slides? I do not.
I hope they do.
There you go. Now
Yeah.
I do.
Okay.
Sorry about that. So let's talk about the programs, right? These, the Institute for the Wireless of Things, as Giuseppe briefly described, has many resources. We have labs again, we have space, we have access to government and industry and so on. And all these, of course, trickles down to the students, especially through our programs. And the 2 masters that the Institute has been supporting and managing in the past couple of years are the Master in Wireless and Network Engineering and the Master in Internet of Things. Our aim when we designed and we implemented these masters was that of preparing the students for a workforce that knows about the typical aspect of telecommunication, wireless communication, and networking, which are on both sides of electrical engineering and the more computer engineering and computer science. Typically, these disciplines were kept fairly separate. You could have a degree in electrical engineering and a degree in computer engineering and computer science. In this case, since both are very relevant to telecommunications, we have bridged those disciplines together. Anybody with a background in engineering, therefore, or in computer science, is capable of accessing these programs that, again, will introduce the students to the principles and the advancements of both electrical engineering and computer engineering for telecommunication, for wireless communication, and for networking. People with a background in STEM topics can also access this program. Most of our fundamental classes in both masters are introductory, and so if you don't have a background that is specific to networking or wireless communication, you will have the opportunity to cover that. Next. For what concerns specifically the Master in Wireless and Network Engineering, again, this draws from the experience the electrical and computer engineering department always had in this field, both on the more hardware side and electrical engineering side, and on the software side, the computer engineering side. As mentioned, we bridged those two and created a master program that includes both aspects and prepares our students to both research and entering the workforce, a specialized workforce that eventually can work in the future of anything that in society we use to communicate, what we call the hyper-connected society. The program is per se designed to allow students to understand, first of all, and also design and implement more practically current network, like for instance 5G, but also the future wireless and wired communication network, as mentioned by Giuseppe. We are supporting the launch of a satellite that uses the most advanced telecommunication system, including terahertz communication, for which we have one of the very few testbed in the world. The master per se has been designed as a traditional master that is made up of courses, of course. It can be completed for coursework and as a project and a master thesis option as well. And of course, through the #1 program of Northeastern, which is the co-op program, co-op experience is also possible. The motivation, the market of this is in front of everybody. Clearly, the internet per se, but the access network to the internet, which is mostly wireless nowadays, is a network that nowadays counts most of human beings on Earth. But more than the 6-some billion people that are anticipated to be connected to the internet within a very few years, the devices that are connected to the internet are now, several, very many billions, of course. At this point, it's clear, and especially in this country, there are a lot of job opportunities in this field, that we need a skilled workforce that is capable and will be capable to take these jobs and work on all these opportunities. The master per se has two options. A course-only tracks that requires the students to complete 32 semester hours or credit hours. Most of our classes, except for some co-op classes, are 4 credit hours, which means that the master will require students to take the equivalent of 8 courses. Of these 8 courses in the course-only track, 2 are to be chosen among core courses, and the remaining 6 courses for the remaining 24 credits are in the form of concentration courses or elective courses. Notice that, as we will mention and even describe, there is the choice of these 2 courses per semester is every semester among a dozen classes. So there is plenty of choices in the field of, again, wireless communication and computer networks. For those of you who like research and like to participate more actively to activities in our labs, this master has a thesis course track. So 2 courses should be selected from core courses, 4 can be elective courses, but 8 credit, the equivalent of 2 courses, can be organized as, can be chosen, can be performed as a master thesis, which is then crafted as a project and a thesis in 2 consecutive semesters. So for those that are more, that want to have a research experience and see what advanced research in communication and networking is, this master have that kind of option. As mentioned, and this again is a list that is not an exhaustive list, for this particular master, 2 classes should be chosen out of the 3 that are listed here. And as I mentioned before, these are fundamental courses, introducing to computer network, introducing to wireless communication system, and of course to the most prevalent and nowadays fundamental, I would say, ways of accessing any form of communication, which is mobile and wireless networking. These courses are so, of course, important for this master and in general for electrical and computer engineering that they are offered basically every semester. For sure, of course, since they are core classes, at least once a year. The elective courses instead are very many and reflect the variety of strengths that the Institute has in the field of computer networks and wireless communications. And the important part, as I was mentioning, is that here at the Boston campus, we offer at least, in addition to the core courses, at least some 10 of them every semester. So our students really have the opportunity of taking 2 courses per semester. That is the typical load that the students take for this master, among very many, at least a dozen every semester. The program is also take also advantage of our collaborations, ongoing collaboration with the Corey College of Computer Sciences, which is another college here at Northeastern. And there are, for the electives that the students can take, some choices that they can take from the computer science department, which is, in this case, these 6 courses listed here. And now back to Giuseppe for a description instead of our crown jewel in the Institute, which is this Master in Internet of Things. Thank you, Giuseppe.
Thank you very much, Stefano. So let's focus now on the second program, the MS in Internet of Things. First of all, this is a program jointly designed between our institute in electrical and computer engineering, as well as the Curie College of Computer Sciences. This is a program that, again, all your interactions when it comes to registration, student advising, everything is from our college. But there is an overarching committee, call it the IoT Faculty Committee, that has both faculty from CIE and Corey that, decide, work together on things like admissions, work together on, make sure that the courses that need to happen, and that's fine. Now, with this in mind, what's the goal of this master? Once again, prepare highly qualified researchers, and remember, some of you may decide to go on to PhD, but as well as a specialized workforce, those who want to go to work right away, that are going to lead the development of the IoT, where the IoT really means the interconnection of pretty much everything that can interact with the environment, with people, and of course, with other devices. Now, the way that we prepare you, once again, is through a combination of coursework, and we'll explain a little bit how's that coursework here. I know that there are some questions already in the chat, and please keep asking questions. We want to answer anything you have, and sometimes they come. Sometimes the answer is in the next slide, but just write them. It's not a problem. So combination of coursework, supervised research. Note that we don't call it thesis because actually there is not enough room to make a whole thesis, but yes, there is room to make a project, and industry experience as in the previous program, as Stefano mentioned. Now, just think in the following way, right? When the internet was created, right, was at the end of the day a way to interconnect researchers and their data. Then eventually, internet became popular with the development of web browser and the internet service providers, and it was great. We call that the internet, or if you want, the internet of people. We went from researchers to all people. But if you look at what has happened in the last 10, 15, at most 20 years, is that those connections have evolved from being mostly human-driven to actually being machine-driven. And by machine, I say that, look, you have many things probably in your home or even on you that are connected to the internet, sharing their own data, acting as they need to, and you are just, somewhere there, but not really the main initiator or answer to the technology. We call those machine-to-machine communications, and in 2023, 14.7 billions of those connections happen, right? So machines are talking to each other, which is great. Now, so when we talk about the Internet of Things, at the very least, we talk about 2 things. We talk about the internet, communications, networking, and we talk about the things, embedded systems. And of course, we need all these things to be intelligent, so AI is also thrown in there. So what we need to make sure is that an IoT, someone with a master's in IoT, should actually be able to be an expert in all these things. So with this in mind, this is a very interdisciplinary program. This is not an IoT program aimed at, programming Arduinos and Raspberry Pis. Many people learn that in high school these days. This is a program that will take you to the next level, and will take you to the next level in the way that society needs that, which is through interdisciplinarity. We're focused in the institute, but, as we already mentioned, this is run by 2 programs, 2 colleges, College of Engineering, but also Curie College of Computer Sciences. And beyond that, we are actually enhancing or collaborating with many other colleges at Northeastern, actually with pretty much all of them. For example, some of you will say, I have a great idea, I know the technology, but I actually, want to take it to the market and become rich and then make a very big donation to Northeastern and, have a building with your name. So that's actually why some of the courses that you can take are going to be part of our business school. Or for example, you say, okay, you will learn that sometimes the most critical data, and remember, the IoT is all about collecting data and then selling data. The most critical data is data that maybe the user doesn't want you to have. So there are many critical things when it comes to data and connectivity and machines. So there are courses that you can take from our School of Law. So you are actually prepared. Many of the applications of IoT are in medical sciences or health sciences, and Northeastern has the Bubeck College of Health Sciences. So yes, there are options for that. And we can go on, maybe you're more into physics, fine. College of Social Sciences and Humanities, College of Sciences, all of them are here. All of them are part of this program. Now, how does the program look like? Well, as before, you could get your master's by only taking courses, or you could get your master's by taking mostly courses and have 4 credits, that's the equivalent of 1 course, of supervised research. There is a big difference, however, between the master's in wireless and network engineering and the master's in IoT. And once again, here in the master's in IoT, the main thing is that out of the 8 courses that usually students take to get a master's at Northeastern, in this program, 7 of them, we're picking them for you, or well, we're telling you there are 7 type of courses that you must take to get this program. Let me explain you why. Let me show you which ones are those. So everyone in the Masters in IoT has to take the Wireless Sensor Networks and Internet of Things course. This is a course that, again, will give you a 360 degrees at what IoT means. And I'll say it in one sentence. The Internet of Things, it's a platform to collect data. Data in today's society means money. So the Internet of Things is nothing but a platform to make money, which, hey, I think it's, that's where you want to be if you want to pay your degrees at Northeastern, at least. Just joking. Now, having said that, so you have to take that course. It's over every semester. But remember what we said. Internet of Things, it's at the very least the Internet and the things. So for the Internet, you have to pick one of the 2 courses, whether wireless comms or mobile and wireless networking. And we're very excited to share actually that, again, mobile and wireless comms is offered every semester. Mobile and wireless networking is actually totally fully revamped, and it's going to be incorporating even a lab. So very excited about that. Then we need you to take a course on algorithms at the graduate level. And I know that many of you did that at the undergraduate, but we really need you to get that at the graduate level, because then we need you to go and take a graduate level course on machine learning or data analysis. So algorithms, it's a requirement for your machine learning class. And I understand you took that at the undergraduate level, but we are really talking about the real deal here. So it gets, a little bit tough. Now, we said the communications, the AI that orchestrates everything, but the things, right? Embedded systems or sensors. So you need to take a course. And again, most of our students already have experience programming, for example, microcontrollers, FPGAs. And again, that's okay. That's something that we want you to have. But as a master's, we actually don't want just you to be programming existing hardware. We want you to be creating the next generation of hardware, right? So you need to at least be exposed to what's coming. And that's why we have a requirement for a course in embedded systems. Now, 2 more things. We said, look, IoT, it's not just the technologies. And yes, as a master's coming from the College of Engineering, you are engineers, but you cannot be totally ignorant of everything else that happens. And for example, just so you know, even if you create the best wireless technology ever, if you are not allowed to legally use it, your impact is going to be negligible, right? So we actually offer you the possibility to take a course, for example, on spectrum policy. Remember, everything that is wireless needs to be regulated. You better know what you're doing if you really want to have an impact. And this is an opportunity, a course that very few universities in the world offer. And actually, this is a course taught by someone who spent 25 years of his career at the FCC, at the Federal Communications Commission. If that's okay, but you actually prefer to explore business models, which are equally very important, you can do that. And we'll talk about that. And of course, courses in security, because look, when people think of, cybersecurity and you're afraid of someone stealing your email access or even your bank, look, if someone steals your bank account information, sure, you're going to lose money. I'm not too worried. I don't have much money. So if they take whatever I have, fine, that's okay. I'm not losing much. But actually today, I would be more concerned if someone taking over my home network, because I have so many things connected online that it could be extremely dangerous. Like someone could randomly set my oven to crazy temperatures and let it burn. And, depending on how things are, could make much more damage. So when we move from a purely cyber wall to a cyber physical wall, which is what the IoT is, the threat is not just in the data. The threat is in the physical wall. So that's why we take security very seriously. And you have to take a course on security. Now, there is one course left. One course that could be a research project, with an advisor, or it could be any of the things that I just mentioned. Like you could take another course in one of the categories. You said, oh, I want to take both. You could do that. Or you could go through the very extensive list of electives that Stefano and I have prepared across all the colleges. Something that, you say, actually, I want to explore the medical IoT. We'll point you in the right direction. I said, no, I actually really want to double down on business because I already have the idea. I think I can make it legal. I just want to, send billions of units. Fine, we can help you with that. And you pick, right? Some of you may say, no, actually, I want connections to XR or VR. Well, those programs are led by our College of Arts, Media and Design. We have things with them too. So these are the courses. And now connecting the two programs, remember what Stefano mentioned, right? We are on Harsh, we are at Northeastern. We deal with, experiential learning. It starts on campus. We don't want you to just go and try things without knowing if they will work. We want you to actually have the foundations. You have courses, you have plenty of hands-on laboratory courses when you are here on campus, and then we can also send you to industry. And we're happy to say that after, the first full cohort, we know that many people were able to go on co-op. And sure, when you go on co-op, which usually means 6 months of paid, internship, there might be, maybe you will end up spending one extra semester with us, but that's okay. It's all about the investment that you're having, right? And these are examples of the companies that work with us at the Institute and many faculty that I already mentioned. And these are companies that are consistently reaching out to us. We need people in this area, or we need people in that area. And Stefano, I, and other faculty in the Institute will be happy to connect you. But we will connect you when we know you are ready. And to be ready, we need to make sure that you impress us in every course that you take. I'm not want to scare you. I just want to tell you that, if you get to us, this is the real deal. We need you to work hard, and we promise you that if you work hard, you will get your reward. And that's how it is. We are, again, we're excited about what we do, and we want you to be equally excited and dedicate yourself. With this, Stefano, I think we're done from this part, but I think we have something else to say. And I'm happy to see that we have one of our student ambassadors here. Good morning, Aswanth. How are you?
Yeah, fine, Professor. I'm sorry, just I was 5 to 10 minutes late.
No problem. You made it on time. Why don't you explain a little bit to our audience? We actually have many people today. Why don't you explain a little bit to our audience what's the role of a graduate ambassador? And for example, what's your experience? How did you get to our program? And how are you helping now with our program?
Yes, Professor. So, is there any way that you can allow my video on, or is it fine now?
So only Harsh can do that.
Okay.
And
Sure.
I did that.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Ashwin Kezi. I'm currently working as a graduate brand ambassador for the wireless and network engineering. And this is one of the courses which Professor Jornet explained us. And yeah, I'm so excited, and I've been working from January, and I've been not working. I've been contributing, and I've been helping the professors to. I could say that I'm a bridge between the students and the prospective students and the university. I recently helped a lot of students to accommodate from the airport to the housing, and I explained the financial. Almost all the process I've been with the students, so the prospective students, and yes, so I'm so excited that the professors are very good, and yes, so I've taken 2 courses from Professor Jornet, and it was it was a very good experience, I could say. And now I'm doing my project with Professor Tomaso Melodia, and I'm working in the 5G ORAN with it's a research kind of field. And yes, so I welcome you guys, and I'm sure that I could see you guys here, and I'm sure that you won't regret. And it's a very beautiful experience. I could say it's a very good journey, and every student must take who are attending this panel. And yes, you'll be you'll soon. It's a rewarding thing.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
sure.
Thank you very much. And I was
Yeah.
kicked out from the network, but you could think of it as I drop on purpose so you could freely talk. I think so.
Yeah, and there are, and so sorry, like, and there are n number of clubs so that you could meet new friends, and there are a lot of technical clubs, IEEE clubs, and wireless networking clubs. So yes, the student community is so good here, and yeah, so the co-op experience, and yeah, there are a lot of things which you could explore here after reaching to Boston. And just email me. You could find my email in the ambassador's website. And yes, yeah. Sorry, Professor, you may continue.
Oh, that's good.
I'll jump back in here. So just like Ashwan said, there's so many support services, just not outside of admissions, faculty, and student ambassadors. There's also a lot of student support services. So like we mentioned earlier, co-op, everyone is co-op is optional, and that is something that you definitely want to do. So there are co-op advisors that would help you in the technical piece of locating a job, with placement, resume building, and we also have a career office on campus. There were some admissions questions related to like visas and stuff. So that's our Office of Global Support or Global Services. So that's OGS, and they'll be the ones to help you with any of that point in time when that time comes, as well as student support services. So you all are provided an academic advisor to ensure that you are going the right track for registration for classes and making sure that it doesn't add more time to your course load. Next slide, please. So on top of that, what does that look like for your next steps? So there is a roadmap that we tell students to follow, and this is something that is definitely shared. So for students that are in this webinar that have been admitted, we like to congratulate you. And then so the roadmap, what it looks like is, so once you get your acceptance, there is an enrollment fee that you will pay. And then of course, there's two different roadmaps. So if you are a domestic student or an international domestic student, your roadmap will look different than an international student. For students that have not yet applied, we advise you to not wait because we are aware that the I-20 process does take a long time, and then there are a lot of supplemental documents that are required. So definitely you want to be on top of your game on that piece. And then you'll see like everything happens so quickly and so fast, and then soon you'll be a Northeastern family member and you'll be part of the Husky Pack. Next slide, please. So just what the timeline or what the deadlines are. So if you are a domestic student, you can still submit your application for the spring. So that domestic student application deadline is December 1st. Our MS priority deadline is January 15th. However, we are an enrolling admissions office, so you definitely do have time to submit it even after January 15th if you wanted. And but we highly advise you not to wait all the way until July 1st because faculty are the ones that are reviewing your applications. And so just would be mindful for that, but also be mindful for if you are a student that needs to apply for visas, supplemental document stuff, don't wait till the very last minute. You want to submit it sooner than later. And then what does that look like? So next slide, please. So for our admissions application or admissions requirements, we require 2 letters of recommendation, unofficial transcripts, statement of purpose, your resume, and then we do require official English proficiency exam scores, and that could be either IELTS, TOEFL, or Duolingo. For students that have not submitted your application, there is an application fee waiver code you will use, which is Apply COE 2025. So if you go to the next slide, you will see some of the requirements and just making sure that it is case sensitive. So you want to be very mindful for the way you type in your fee waiver code. So definitely make sure you take a screenshot of this or let it just write it down somewhere, but just make sure you're writing it the way you see it, which is apply COE 2025. And that wraps up our presentation. I know we were already answering some Q&A, but I like to open it up for any Q&A. And I know there were some questions that were flagged that definitely want to discuss.
If Stefano can cover those, I actually need to run.
Sure. Okay.
We'll be glad to. We'll be glad to.
Thank you.
And there are some that are, Arsh and I can actually address. For instance, for these two masters in particular, the GRE is not mandatory, is not a required field. If some of you, of course, have taken it and wants to submit it, of course, it's useful for us, but is not required for these masters. And is PhD computer engineering not available? I'm not sure. I applied for it 3 months ago and nothing has been heard. Is funded including PhD program. So for students, that's a different question than the programs that, of course, we are talking about in this presentation. But that's really a different program. If you're applying for the PhD in computer engineering, it is a different kind of admission, right? Your application is, of course, received. Faculty go through the application and decide. It's the whole faculty of the whole department that go through a PhD application, because faculty has to decide about the opportunity of hiring a PhD students or not. For PhD, usually funding is provided. And while the masters are investments that the students take care of mostly by themselves, of course, participation and fundings once the student has started the program and participation in a lab that is supported is possible, but that happens after most of the time after the program has started, of course. For what concerns admissions, admissions are made by the program directors. It's mostly myself and Giuseppe, and plus a colleague of ours in the Curie College of Computer Sciences for the Master in IoT. Admissions are based really on the background that we see on the students. GPAs, and again, GRE, when the students submit it, are used as points in our decisions. But what we want to really make sure of is that somebody who applies to these programs, we look at the transcript, and we want to make sure that these students, when they come here, do not struggle in taking our classes. Our classes are fairly intense. That's why, for instance, we recommend the students not to take more than 2 courses per semester, because they are intense. There are lab works, there are assignments, and there are concepts that are new for especially the most advanced ones, of course, to most students. So, they're reasonable courses. Students with a strong background can take them, but that's what we want to make sure when we read your application. The transcripts are very important to us. The GPA is an indication, of course, that there is no set GPA, but a 3 out of 4 or a higher is a good indication that the students have fared well in school. And that's what you will be doing here, taking courses and pass them. But what we try to make sure is that the student doesn't come here and say struggles through classes, go on probation. That's a very stressful situation for the student, of course, and we would like to avoid that. We want our student to succeed. That is our point. As Arsh mentioned, we have a code for waiving the application fee for those of you who participated in this webinar. I'm looking at some other. Will be fully equipped with practical learning to meet industry standard when I enroll in a master in network and wireless and network engineering. That's a positive, of course. That's why we designed this master. The master in wireless and network engineering is geared towards introducing students to current, but most possibly future networking. Can I apply to another engineering program, I suppose, alongside this? And the answer is yes, right, Harsh? I think students can apply to at most 5 programs at Northeastern.
At most 3 per
3
application.
programs at Northeastern. So will the SOP and resume be considered strongly in the case of a GPA? So again, if the GPA is really poor, that doesn't, we are not, let me tell you this, we are not basing admission only on GPA, that's for sure. If we see, but again, sometimes the transcript themselves are reflected in the GPA. And so it's difficult for us to get a good pictures of somebody's skill when again, they did not do well in their classes, in their bachelor degrees, and have, as a consequence, a very low GPA. In terms of career for IoT, we don't have, so the first class of the Master in IoT will be graduating in the spring, and we are really looking forward to it. The career is, we anticipate, mostly in the field of telecommunications. And that depends on what the student intends to do, whether to stay, for instance, and apply for positions in this country. The program comes with, I believe, at least 1 year of optional practical training, the OPT, through which the students can actually stay legally in the country and apply for jobs. And this is beyond the co-op experience that the students can participate in. What about Harsh? I'm applying for a PhD in electrical engineering, interested in doing a research in ORAN and 5G. Is this waiver code applicable?
So the application code is applicable for all applications for this week. So yes.
Okay. So that's a yes. Yes.
All right, I think we answered all the questions as we are at the top of the hour. So we appreciate everyone that has joined us today, and there are more sessions throughout the week. There'll be a specific co-op session as well. So I know there's a lot of some questions regarding career outcomes in co-op. So definitely attend those. But we appreciate everyone that joined us. As like I stated earlier, this is recorded and it will be shared on our YouTube page.
Thank you. Thank you, Harsh. Thank you, Swant, for participating, and especially thank you to everybody interested in these programs. We hope to see you in Boston.
Take care.
Thank you,
Bye.
everyone.